On this week's episode, we will be discussing the Lakers' surprising 2-0 series lead against the heavily favored Rockets. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Matter of Stats podcast. Anthony here with you as always. And just a reminder, if you are new to the program, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow the channel, of course, and we really appreciate all the support and feedback. All right, well, here we are, about a week removed from last week where we talked about the Lakers, the Rockets, the potential for the matchup, some of the things that I felt the Lakers would certainly have to do, what they would need from certain players, offensively, defensively. We talked about the uphill battle it would be and how the Lakers, of course, would go into the series as huge underdogs. All of that, very true, very probable, and still not out of the woods in the unlikeliest sense that it may or may not happen. But somehow, the Lakers have won the first two games at home in this series. Now, a little bit of luck or a little bit of fortune, if you will, where KD did not play in game one. That was critical because I did mention last week that for the Lakers to have any shot at all in this series, they would have to steal game one. Sounds silly to say steal game one at home, but they would have to find a way to get game one no matter what, to put a little bit of pressure on the Rockets. So not only did they do that, but Durant came back for game two. He played extremely well in the first half, which we'll get into a little bit later. But the Lakers found a way to also win game two, surprisingly. So they take game one, they take game two, they go into Houston now, upcoming this weekend for game 3 and 4 with a 2-0 series lead, where I think almost everybody, especially all the national media heads, ESPN guys that all picked the Lakers to lose, and not just lose this series, but they picked them to lose this series in like 4 or 5 games. So not only are they not going to lose this series in 4 or 5 games, they are now, at least statistically, right, the betting favorite to win this series, which you would expect any team to be going into a 2-0 lead. But now you're situating where people thought the Rockets would win this game in 4 or 5 games. Win this series in 4 or 5 games. Now the Rockets have to win 4 of 5 games to win this series. So the dynamic of this has completely flipped, and there's a lot of reasons to it. Some of it, a little bit of luck, right? Like we said, with Durant not being available for game one, that was a great advantage to the Lakers. But credit to the Lakers because they took advantage of that opportunity. Losing that game would have been catastrophic given the fact that Kevin Durant was not playing in that game. So they still had to take advantage of the opportunity, and they did. But then to double it up with an equally impressive win in game two, where they played just as well, if not better, because they cleaned up a little bit of the offensive rebound issues from game one. And to go up 2-0 without Luka, without Reeves, on the road, where the Rockets kind of look a little broken, a little out of it. They look like there are some problems internally, externally, off the court, on the court. So this is obviously a great opportunity for the Lakers, but this is why a few weeks ago we talked about the idea of the Rockets in the first round was really the best case scenario for the Lakers from a matchup standpoint because of what we've seen in these first 2 games. The Rockets have trouble scoring. Case in point, right? They have not been able to score over 100 points in either game. They're good defensively. Obviously, they have the length and athleticism that the Lakers don't possess, but part of the strength of this matchup for the Lakers was the Rockets' inability to score, the Rockets' inability to shoot the 3 ball very well, and the fact that they don't have a lot of go get a bucket guys outside of Kevin Durant. The Lakers have been able to mix up their defense, their coverages, the way they played KD, especially in game 2. Well, obviously in game 2 with the double team in the second half. But defensively, they've been good. They've also been a little more physical, which has been an issue for this Lakers team throughout the year. The lack of athleticism has been, a problem. Obviously, that's not going to change. But to counteract some of that athleticism that the Rockets have, the Lakers have been more physical defensively. They've definitely been more sound defensively from their schematics, their rotations, their executions. Really feel like everybody out there knows what they're doing. And the defense has flowed because of it, because they all seem to be in the right place at the right time. So credit the players, credit the coaching staff for putting in a system that works, and the players for understanding and following the game plan. But offensively, the Lakers have been efficient enough. And I say that because obviously you got about 60 points a game sitting there in street clothes. So you're not going to score 130, especially against a Rockets team that is good defensively and good athletically. They do create turnovers. You've seen that in each of these first 2 games where the Lakers have played well, had a nice double-digit lead, and the Rockets have cut it to a bucket or 2 at the half. The Lakers have had to grind it out a little bit in the third quarter. They get another nice 8-9 point lead. The Rockets kind of hang in there, and then the Lakers are able to hold on at the end. And the Rockets have done that when they've tightened up their defense and they've created turnovers and they've gotten on the offensive glass. So those are the 2 biggest areas that the Lakers and this coaching staff really have to be tight on when they go into Houston for games 3 and 4, because you have to assume the Rockets will play better at home. You have to assume some of the guys that were missing shots in LA will make those shots in Houston. And then the flip side of that, right? Shaq always says role players play better at home. The Lakers, quote unquote, role players, guys like Rui, guys like Marcus Smart, guys like Ayton played very well in the first 2 games, and the Rockets role players did not. So you have to assume there's going to be some adjustment there, just some natural adjustment where the Rockets players will play a little better, make a few more shots. The Lakers, Kennard, Smart will not make quite as many shots as they did in the first 2 games of this series, won't be quite as efficient from 3 as they were in the first 2 games of this series. So to counteract that, the Lakers have to limit the turnovers, because that's what allowed the Rockets to get back into each of those games. Because people forget, the Rockets actually took a lead in the third quarter in game 1 and took a lead in the third quarter of game 2. They did it with defensive intensity, and they did it forcing turnovers. And some of the Laker turnovers were unforced, just sloppy, mistakes by the Lakers. When the Rockets just got a little more aggressive defensively, the Lakers just made bad passes, dribbled the ball out of bounds, that kind of stuff. So the Lakers will definitely have to be much, much stouter on that. And they're going to have to clean up the glass. The Rockets got a ton of offensive rebounds, especially in game 1. They had 21 offensive rebounds in game 1. And the Rockets are a great offensive rebounding team. We know that. But the Lakers are going to have to limit that. You can't allow the team to get another 10, 15, 20 extra shots and expect to win both those games in Houston, because they're not going to miss all those shots when they get those extra opportunities in Houston, and they're going to capitalize. And that could be the difference between winning the game by 7 or 8 or losing the game by 4 or 5. But all that aside, the Lakers really have no business being up 2-0. We talked about the Rockets at full strength. We talked about Kevin Durant. We talked about how they are such heavy favorites, and the Lakers obviously playing from behind, shorthanded, a lot of reasons for this Laker team to really just kind of quit and be like, hey, we know we're not supposed to win. We're going to go out there and try, but everyone expects us to lose. So, whatever happens, happens. But that has not been the mentality of this team. The energy in the building has been insane. The crowd has been loud. They added some extra seating to the arena. I think that's made a huge difference, because the crowds in the first 2 games have been really electric, kind of feeding off these players, the players feeding off the fans. And shout out to the guys that we talked about needing to step up. I talked about the Lakers starting five needing to average double figures for them to have a chance to win this series. They've done that in each of the first two games. They're averaging double figures. I talked about the three key players that I felt would really have to kind of raise their offensive game in the absence of Luka and Reeves to support some of those missing points. LaRavia, Ayton, and Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, dazzling in the first two games. He's averaging like 23 points a game in the first two games. Ayton, averaging double figures through the first two games. LaRavia, the points aren't there. He's only averaging a few points, but I will give him credit. His defense in the second game on Durant, particularly in the third quarter, I really felt like that kind of got Durant out of his rhythm, out of the game, because he was dynamic in the first quarter. He scored almost half their points in the first quarter. And then in the third quarter, he just seemed off. And LaRavia was one of the guys out there. Obviously, Marcus Smart was another guy out there, particularly in the fourth quarter, defending KD. And the trapping defense of the Lakers coming from different directions, I think really bothered Durant, whether it confused him or whether it just frustrated him. But I think LaRavia set a little bit of that tone in the third quarter. A couple times you saw LaRavia just get in his face, even knock him down, right? Seemingly just over-aggressive. And I think that kind of bothered Durant a little bit. And then Smart's defensive pressure in the fourth quarter, the double teaming, just kind of completely took KD out of that rhythm that he had in the first half where he was seemingly unstoppable. And it allowed the Lakers to not only limit his offense, I think he only had 3 points in the second half, but he also had 9 turnovers in the game. That's a ton of turnovers, and those are what the Lakers are going to need because they're going to have to find a way to get easy baskets when you don't have your go-to superstar scorers out there at all times. But independent of that, LeBron was great in the first two games. He's been fantastic in this series. He's averaging over 20 points. How about Luke Kennard? Who needs Luka Doncic when you've got Luke Doncic? He has been nothing short of spectacular and literally almost filling the role of Luka. MVP. Uh-oh. The crowd is chanting. The crowd is chanting. They hear me. Finally. Luke's been great. He's the numbers speak for themselves, but he's shooting 65% in the series. He's shooting like 73% from three. He's 8 for 11 from the three-point line in the first two games. And between Luke and Marcus and LeBron, you have three guys that are all averaging over 23 points a game in the first two games. So the Lakers have somehow managed to create a new big three almost overnight in the first two games. Now, I get it. There's only two games. We certainly have not won anything yet by any stretch of the imagination. But I think you have to feel good from where we were a week ago, understanding the situation, understanding the task at hand and how difficult it was going to be for this Laker roster to not only get out of the first round, but even to win a game or two. So to take care of business and dominate both games at home, I don't think you can ask for a better start to this series. And if you're a Laker fan, you definitely feel good. You feel optimistic. Now the goal has to be to get one of two in Houston, right? Now the mentality switches. Before, the Lakers were like, hey, man, let's just see if we can't get swept. Now it's like, let's see if we can take care of business and win this series in 4 or 5 games. So it's crazy what a few days makes, but that's where we're at. So obviously, Friday night game 3 is going to be really difficult. The Rockets going to be fired up. They know they got to win game 3 because you can't go down 0-3 because it's game over. It's kiss of death. So it's going to be difficult for the Lakers to win Friday game 3, but the goal has to be same mentality, same effort, same energy, same execution, and steal one of those two. You come back 3-1, and you are in a phenomenal spot to try to close this thing out and get ready for OKC. And then who knows, right? Give yourself a chance. Anything can happen. Luka, Reeves, somebody comes back. Both of them comes back. LeBron continues to find the fountain of youth. Marcus Smart continues to, shoot the ball like that. Luke Kennard continues to look like, Luka Kennard. And who knows? Anything can happen, but you give yourself a chance. But first order of business, great start. Split in Houston, get one of those 2 games, and then we go from there. But as always, we will be here to break it down for you next week. And hopefully we'll be talking even better Laker news than we are right now. And until then, we'll see you next week. Take care.
Matter of Stats Podcast.